So, why do I tell myself I'm safe? Well, contrary to what my buddy thinks, it's not because I'm afraid of my wife. Now, to understand that, you've got to realize that going back literally decades in our friends group, it's been a common joke that at some point my wife is going to get sick of my shenanigans and just bury me out back. At least I think it's a joke. One thing that does concern me is how eager and happy all the other wives seem to be able to take part in the task with my wife. Anyway, this past weekend I released a video about the fight or flight response and how, in order to break yourself out of that, making yourself feel safe is an important key. So, what my buddy was really asking is, why is feeling safe a key to breaking out of the fight or flight when you're not actually in any danger from the pain that you're in? Well, if you stick with me a few minutes, I'll explain how chronic pain can both trigger that fight or flight mode. I'll explain what that fight or flight mode is actually doing within your system when you're in that cycle. And I'll explain how come feeling safe helps break the cycle. So, first, I want to explain what it looks like when that switch is flipped in me. Most of the time, I don't notice it. My wife notices it first. A couple of the red flags that she sees is I become somewhere between 100% and 765,000% less tolerant of absolutely everything. If she hears me yelling at the cats in the other room, she absolutely knows I'm no longer driving the car. Fight or flight has taken over the wheel. A second red flag is I become completely nonsensical. Like, I will be saying out loud, I need to lay down, but I don't actually lay down. I just keep finding one more thing to do, one more thing to do, one more thing to do before actually getting laying down. Before my therapist explained the whole process and what was happening to me, I would easily spend like 2 hours or more doing that. I need to lay down, but first I'm going to go get myself water. Well, going to get the water, I can't remember where the jugs are. I can't get the lids on or off the jugs. Once I do get water in them and get the lid on them, I go back to the bedroom without the jug of water. Then I go to brush my teeth, and it's like some epic scavenger hunt for the toothpaste and toothbrush, even though all those items have been in the same spot all the time. You have to understand that by the time I reach that point, I can't think straight. I have no coordination left. Emotionally, it is total chaos. So, yeah, snapping out of it is really quite important. So, here's the biology behind the madness. Now, I promise there's no quiz, there's no test. Don't let some of these phrases or words scare you off. It's entirely possible I won't even say them right. I just find that understanding the process helped me to be able to recognize it and to be able to put a stop to it. First thing to know is pain exists to protect us. Your pain receptors will detect harmful or potentially harmful stimulus, and they send a danger signal to your brain. That signal acts like a fire alarm, screaming, something's wrong, we need to avoid this, we need to stop this. When the alarm rings, one of your brain's first reactions is fear. Now, it's not the kind of fear that you get when like a bear is charging at you where you're very aware, oh, I am afraid. This fear is an internal thing that is under the covers. You don't notice it, but that does trigger your fight or flight response. That fight or flight response is an ancient survival system. It's an automatic reaction that kicks in when you're afraid. Your brain senses a threat, it flips the switch, and then it floods your body with hormones and chemicals that are designed to boost your energy and sharpen your focus. Those two things put you in a state where you are best able to defend yourself in a fight or to run fast to get away, fight or flight. Unfortunately, your brain doesn't know the difference between a charging bear and the fact that your pain levels have just gotten higher than they usually are. So here's what's happening under the hood. The amygdala, which is your brain's threat detector, sends a signal to your hypothalamus, which then kicks off two systems. One, the sympathetic nervous system, and two, something called the HPA axis. I don't fully understand the HPA axis, but I know the two systems combined send a complete chemical cocktail into your body. The three main chemicals are adrenaline, noradrenaline, and cortisol. Now, adrenaline is that gives you that instant energy, makes your heart beat fast. Noradrenaline gives people laser focus, but it's the cortisol that I really want to talk about. Now, adrenaline and noradrenaline, they're just short-term alarm bells. It's the cortisol that sticks around and won't leave the party. Cortisol keeps you awake and alert for those emergency situations, but it also shuts down the systems in your body that your brain determines are non-essential. Systems like digestion immune response, growth and repair systems, and even higher level reasoning. That's why you get that terrible brain fog. Basically, your body says, stop fixing things, stop thinking about things, just survive. If that state lasts too long, you start to see fatigue and brain fog, poor sleep, and even increased pain sensitivity, which is the last thing you need. That's why chronic pain and chronic stress feed each other cyclically so horribly. One keeps lighting the other one's fuse. So when I joke that my body hates me, that's only partially sarcasm. In reality, my biology really is fighting against my own best interest. So where does I'm safe come in? When I say it out loud, while naming what I see, hear, and feel, I'm reminding my brain that that threat is just a false alarm, that I'm not really in danger. Speaking it and hearing it can give my brain that double dose of reality. I'm not in danger. I am safe. When that message reaches your prefrontal cortex, that tells your prefrontal cortex, the rational thinking part of your brain, to take the wheel back from the amygdala. Once the prefrontal cortex is in charge again, it triggers what's called your parasympathetic nervous system. That's your rest and digest system. That will kick in and it'll start to calm everything down. So I guess in simpler terms, when I'm in fight or flight, it's like the bad guys, fear and pain, are driving the car with their psychopathic sidekick, cortisol, in the passenger seat DJing for the joyride. When I convince myself I'm safe, then the superhero, the prefrontal cortex, and their sidekick, the parasympathetic nervous system, they show up and beat the crap out of the bad guys and take the wheel back. In hindsight, maybe that's all this video needed to be. I could have skipped all the science and just said, bad guys take over your brain, good guys take it back, keep on swinging. But anyway, I think for me, it's super important to understand, at least on some level, the science and the biology of what's happening in your system during that fight or flight, so that it'll help you break out of it. Hopefully this video helped you understand that. Hopefully next time you hit that fight or flight mode, you'll be able to get out of it quicker. Until next time, you keep on swinging.